Hello, everybody. This is my next session on how to lead a small group. This is number 3. And I really want to talk about who can lead. So many people feel like they're not qualified to lead a group. They're not, they don't have a degree in the Bible, they haven't been to Bible school or whatever. And we really don't want that. I just want to encourage you. We are looking, and God is looking for normal, whatever that means, Christians who have friends who they can reach and help learn the Word and grow together. It's not somebody that knows everything. It's somebody who's willing to engage with people. And again, we said it earlier, we're not looking for Bible teachers. That's the last thing we want in a small group. We're looking for people who are very adept at getting other people to talk. A successful small group is one that is measured by how much participation there is. As a matter of fact, a failure is when the leader is doing all of the talking. You can measure the success of a small group by if you can get other people to talk. Now, you don't want just one person to talk all the time, but you want to engage people. That's why we say 3 to 12 people. If it's more than that, they won't talk. They can't talk. Even at 12, if you look at all the different conversations happening, it's really a lot. They actually say 7 is the perfect size where people can interact. But we say 3 to 12 people in a group meeting weekly to apply the Bible. The point of a small group is application. We've encouraged people to do the sermon online, to watch a video and then talk about it, to get a Bible topic, to do something practical like Christian parenting, Christian marriage, Christian financing, stewardship, how to handle your money as a Christian, how to live out the Christian life is what you're looking for. We've really been a big fan of the Discovery Bible Studies for Bible study because you read a section of Scripture, somebody tells it in their own words, and then there are a few questions about that. You could go through the entire Bible that way, or you could take a book of the Bible, and it's not someone giving others a sermon, it's people actually learning together, and I love that. And the point of a leader is you have to be able to keep it moving. You got to watch within a group. People are people, and boy, that's a can of worms I'm opening by even saying that. But the thing of it is, there are some people who are single issue Christians. To them, there's one thing that matters, and they're going to preach that to everyone else. And that's their passion, and that's good. It's just that we can all do gift projection, where we think everybody else is supposed to have the same passion that we do. So if somebody only cares about reaching the poor people, or somebody only cares about missions, or somebody only cares about the different political issues that are going on, that person will continue to bring that up and shape the group differently than how it's supposed to be shaped. A leader is a leader. The leader is in charge, not of the other people, but of the topic. The leader is responsible to keep it moving back towards the topic. When I first started leading small groups, I would notice that people would go on a rampage. Maybe you could be talking about the Sermon on the Mount, and somebody would suddenly, launch into a discussion about the end times or the Antichrist or something. And what I learned is this: if you publicly rebuke people, they won't come back. Not only that, the other people are watching you correct them, and they're not going to talk. And so what I learned to do was let people kind of finish up, and then I would just go on back to the topic without even commenting on what they just said. I would say, okay, yeah, back to our topic, Sermon on the Mount. And so I would continually go back to what we were talking about. Now, if someone would talk and talk and talk and they wouldn't stop, I would sometimes need to go to that person one-on-one after the service, after the small group, and say, hey, listen, I really need you to help me get other people talking. Could you help me? And then sometimes somebody would not stop talking, and I would have to sit next to them, and then I would actually touch them on the arm mid-conversation just to kind of startle them and then start talking. I know that sounds brutal, but there's sometimes when you have to direct people into the flow. All you need is one or two, even one person who really wants to take it over, and you lose your leadership position. A leader is a leader. When we release someone to be a leader, we want them to stay on topic. And so you're going to have issues like that. There are people who are going to have something that they want to talk about, and you've got to turn them back into the flow. From this book about bands, which are groups of 3 of the same sex, which are very accountability oriented, a little bit more intense than a typical small group, they gave some kind of hilarious guides, examples of people. And I've seen different, examples of this, but this is kind of funny. Every group has a fix-it Fred. This guy is going to fix every problem. He hears a problem, and he's going to stop the group and give a solution. Now, here's what you need to do. He's going to advise people to fix their problem this way. Fix it, Fred. And then Vampire Velma, without being fully able to explain why, you get home from that meeting feeling emotionally drained. In other words, their problems are so severe that every week when you talk to Vampire Velma, you feel like they suck the life right out of you. And so you need to listen to people, but you also have to be cautious that there's a line that can be crossed that is just draining. You don't want someone to just come and think that the small group is a counseling session, so be very careful with that. Critical Carl. This is the guy that corrects everybody and has a tendency to project that his life is more together than everyone else's. So you have to be careful that this could be a woman, this could be a man, where this person isn't condescending to others. You don't want somebody saying something completely crazy, but at the same time, you don't want to correct every statement that someone makes. Sometimes people even do wrong things or say goofy things, and you kind of listen, and the whole group kind of knows, okay, that's goofy. We used to have the meetings where the people would get together with the Lost Alpha Course, and we would have to train the Christians to let the people there talk, because they weren't Christians, they weren't believers that were meeting with them. We'd have to train the people to let the unbelievers talk and don't correct everything they say. Don't fix everything. Interrupting Irene is talkative. Some folks just like to talk and they're not listening to you. They're just getting ready for the next thing they're going to say. Busy Bill. He's overextended. He's intense. He is so busy. He's so intense he makes coffee nervous. And so Busy Bill, he's overextended and he tends to be, he might even commit to something, but he can't fulfill. Next he's supposed to bring the cookies, and it's like, I was going to do that, but it's just so busy. So you got to watch for that. That's kind of all of us a little bit. And then Gossip Glenda. You have to be very careful in a small group that you don't use prayer requests as an opportunity to gossip. No one should ever in a small group say something critical of someone else, especially if that person is not present. And the leader has to deal with that. You have to correct that and say, we're not going to talk about something like that. And you need to say that one publicly. And if that person keeps doing it, you need to take them aside and correct them. And if they keep doing that, you might need to ask them to go to another small group, because you don't want to create a place that's just a hotbed for gossip. I'm such a believer in small groups. I think the Bible thoroughly teaches this. I think that it's so important that you're in a place where you can grow together with other people, where you can be challenged, where you can apply and ask questions. For instance, if you hear teaching on the end times, you probably sit there listening to that teaching, saying there's so many questions. It's great to get into a small group and say, he said this, what about that? And to go further, you can then study it personally, and you can bring your questions to your group and you can talk about it. That is so important. So I really, really challenge you. Get into a place where you can grow together. You can do this. You can be a small group leader. Take the plunge. Commit to it for one session. I bet you get so addicted that you want to do it every time. We do 3 times a year, 3 sessions. I really encourage you. Get involved. Lead a small group. You can be a blessing to other people.